Shalom. I'll give honor and God praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Hakadosh. The honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, top of the truth and sincerity. Salutations to the hopeful light, spectre, part of 4.3. We're going to be another day to bread entitled Proverbs 16, verses 1 through 33. All right. Contrast the upright and with the wicked. The first verse. The preparations of the heart and man, and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs in the spirit. All right. True, because what sometimes we can think that we're doing the right things, right? We can have good intentions, like that's what they call good intent. Yeah, good intent to something, but what the Lord, especially on the outward appearance, right? People, you know, when the Lord speaks about the false prophets, the Pharisees, the wicked Pharisees, right? On the outward appearance, they appear as a lamb, like as a sheep, but inward they're ravening wolves. This is what the scriptures are going to. They're clean in their own eyes, but in their spirit, right, is wicked. Okay, the Lord, that what the Lord look at. Okay, He look at your intent, which is your motives. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts should be established. The Lord has made all things for himself, yeah, even the wicked for the day of evil. That's powerful, okay? So the wicked exist, okay? People who is committing crimes, or whatever, committing crimes, just doing all types of mental wickedness, they exist because the Lord wants them to exist. They serve a purpose, okay? They serve a purpose in the day of evil. Because just imagine, just the Lord, if you want the world to be full of righteous people, you don't think there'll be just righteous people, nice people, in this earth, okay? If that what the Lord Yahweh wanted, okay, of course it would be, right? But it's all for a purpose. We had a wicked and you had a righteous, okay? You had a wicked, they're going to be during the time of day evil. You have the righteous, they're going to be during the time of day evil, right? But the thing about it is that the wicked is going to get destroyed and the righteous is going to get delivered. Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord, meaning they detest. All right. Though hand joins in hand, he shall not be punished. Okay. They will not be unpunished. The Lord is going to punish the wicked. By mercy and truth, iniquity is purged, and by the fear of the Lord, man depart from evil. And there's not a healthy fear of the Lord on this earth. Okay. I'm talking about fearing Yahweh Shai. People don't fear the people, not the Yahweh Shai. Power is not, in the sense of people knowing him, people fear him, is not, in this earth. Okay. There's only small group of people that fear the Lord. I'm talking about Yahweh Shai, not Jesus. All right. But Yahweh Shai. Only a small percentage. You know who that is? The man and women that follow Great Millstone, and that is of Great Millstone. When a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. Okay. Better is a little with righteousness than great revenues without right. Yeah, we only have little, okay, in this truth, right? Our daily bread, okay? But that's greater than revenues without righteousness, right? Riches without righteousness, okay? Celebrities, for example, right? The rich and famous, according to this law, right? They have great revenues, but they're not righteous, okay? They don't worship Yahweh Shah. They don't worship, they don't keep the commandments in the ways of the Lord, okay? They keep the commandments of the Satan, okay? They follow Satan commandments, which is what? Sacrifice, okay? Children sacrifice, okay? Sacrifice loved ones, okay? Doing his biddings, okay? That's what they do. That's what commandments they follow. A man's heart devises his way, but the Lord directs his steps. A divine sentence is in the lips of the king, and his mouth transgresses not in judgment. A just weight and balance are the Lord's, all the weights of the bag are his work. It is an abomination to kings to commit wickedness, for the throne is established by righteousness. Righteous lips are the delight of kings, and they love him that speaketh right. The wrath of a king is a messenger of death, but a wise man will pacify it. In the light of the king's countenance is life, and his favor is as a cloud of the latter rain. How much better is it to get wisdom than gold, to get understanding rather to be chosen than silver? The highway of the upright is to depart from evil, meaning which highway goes back to a path, the road, right? Is to depart from evil, right? He that keepeth his way preserveth his soul. Yeah, because we're on a narrow straight path, okay? The upright is on a narrow straight path, okay? And that narrow straight path is basically, is uprightness, is righteousness, right? In that narrow straight path, you're on a narrow straight path. I mean, you are living a life according to, you have a stoic life, okay? Not many people have a stoic life. They have a stoic life, right? You got Epicureans, okay? Yeah, let me look that up. Stoic. A stoic is a person who remains calm, rational, and free from excessive emotion, particularly when facing pain, adversity, or hardship. And as an adjective, it describes a person or behavior that is uncomplaining and imperturbable and focused on controlling reactions rather than being controlled by external events. Right? And living in this world, we're vexed daily, okay, by the wicked conversation, by the conversation of the wicked, okay, by the manner of life of the wicked, you know. And the Lord said those that should live their way, basically those that should live their way according to righteousness, they should have tribulation in the world, yeah, okay. So we have tribulation in the world, right? We are vets, okay. There are certain foods like we cannot eat, right? We are constantly battling, our health, right? Demons, we're constantly battling demons, right? So, guess what? We cannot show emotional, okay? We cannot let that our vexation have to the point where we, bug out, all right? And that's a narrow and straight path, okay, to uprightness, because ultimately it's making our spirit stronger. It's making our spirit unbreakable, all right? We're able to withstand, certain, attacks, okay? And then you have the definition for Epicureanism, right? Is an ancient Greek philosophy teaching that the highest good is pursuing modest, sustainable pleasures, primarily the absence of physical pain and mental fear. Okay? So you have this, am I Stoic or Epicurean? The Stoics cared about virtuous behavior and living according to nature, while, okay, was living according to nature, okay? In nature, right, we get our food from nature, okay? So what we eat, okay, has to be organic, okay? Just like the tree, for example, apples, oranges, etc., right? That it has to be organic. You just basic something food, okay? Walking, nature walks, right? Taking nature walks, okay? Being out in nature, okay? Running, all right? Jogging, pride goes before distortion and a haughty spirit before a fall, okay? And you have many people that are proud, all right, proudful, all right, but soon comes distortion. Better is to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. He that handleth a matter wisely shall find good, and whoso trusteth in the Lord, happy is he. The wise in heart should be called prudent, and the sweetness of the lips increases learning. Understanding is a wellspring of life unto him that has it, but the instructions of fools is folly. The heart of the wise teaches his mouth, and added learning to his lips. Pleasant words are as in honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healthy to the bones. There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. And that path is what being an Epicurean, right? That's right. That seems right is being an Epicurean, right? Taking that broad and narrow path, that broad path. Okay, living on life according to pleasure. People think that's right. Okay, people think suffering, okay, is wrong, right? But there's a righteous suffering. All right, we're suffering right. We're suffering righteously, not wickedly. Okay, not eating pork. Okay, that's a righteous suffer. Okay, um, not yeah, not partaking in certain activities. Okay, whether it may be, that's suffering righteously. I'm talking about wicked. I'm talking about wicked activities. But people think not doing those things is wicked, right? No, All right, but people think that that's not doing those things wicked. But guess what? If you keep doing it, right, we're gonna lead to death. Okay. He that labors for himself, for his mouth craveth it of him. And a godly man diggeth up evil, and in his lips there is a burning fire. A forward man soweth strife, and a whisper separated two friends. A violent man entices his neighbor, and leads him into the way that is not good. He shutteth his eyes to devise forward things, having his lips he bringeth evil to pass. The hoary head is a crown of glory, and it be found in the way of righteousness. Yes. You know? So not every person, okay, every person that have gray hair are righteous, okay? You know, it has to be found in righteousness. They have to be found in righteousness, right? He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that rooted his spirits than he that taketh a city. The lot is cast into the lap, but the whole disposing thereof is of the Lord. Yeah, the Lord controls everything, right? Cast lot, but the Lord controls how that lot, how that stone, whatever falls. The Lord controls the outcome. He controls the outcome. Okay. So, because everybody will go praise to you. How about you? Shabbat Shalom. That's the same station.